Rebel News, Pierre Poilievre expands on his emissions plan, suggesting it makes more sense to bring emissions down by bringing jobs home through technology, not taxes. It says production in Canada, which is cleaner, is the best way to reduce emissions. Well, I mean, he's talked a lot about how if we really wanted to bring down global emissions, it's to help like India and China replace its coal plants with Canadian LNG. LNG is much cleaner than coal. So that's the way you could actually globally bring down emissions if that's even important. But so here's a plan that might actually do something if the goal is to reduce the amount of carbon in the air.
Are you prepared to commit Canada to any kind of emissions target if you become Prime Minister? And if so, what would that look like?
We have to focus on technology and not taxes. First and foremost, we have to take back control of our economy. What would my emissions target look like? I treat this as a global problem. By bringing home production from more polluting foreign jurisdictions, we reduce global emissions while growing our own paychecks. I don't think it is an achievement to shut down a Canadian steel mill and then see one open up in China that produces 10 or 20 times more emissions for each unit of steel. We need to do is acknowledge that the best way to reduce emissions is to bring home clean production here. For example, National Bank has calculated that we could displace 2.5 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions in India if we would supply them with our clean Canadian natural gas rather than having them power their economy with coal. 2.5 billion tons is 3 times the emissions of all of Canada. It makes more sense to bring emissions down by bringing jobs home through technology and not taxes, and that's what I announced today.
See, that's just common sense that anybody can understand, right? If the goal is for there to be less carbon in the air, well, then this is something that actually would achieve that, right? And it's also good for the Canadian economy. Now, it's not good for like a net zero guy like Carney, because apparently, in his mind, the only way to save the world is to destroy the West. And I'm not joking and not being facetious about it. I mean, Carney's Brookfield Asset Management Company has invested in billions of dollars in pipelines in other parts of the world, right? In Brazil, in the Middle East. Canadian banks have now dropped out of his climate banking alliance because it just simply doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense, right? So here's something that would actually work. Again, Carney won't like it because it doesn't destroy Canada, right? So Canada has to just be all, I guess, windmills and cricket farms. And that's what he promised Klaus Schwab. But I can't help but feel that a message like this, it just really is common sense, right? And it's also an aspirational message. Like, this is going to work. It's like, no, we don't have to destroy ourselves for the future, right? Like, we can here's something that will achieve the goals that Mark Carney claims he wants to achieve without wrecking the country, actually making the country stronger. This is a strong, strong message. He needs to really lean into this because it actually will do something. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.